This is the vision. This is my vision. We do it through total control, through total domination, through complete power.
I am out here in this ring and you face me man to man.
What's the matter? Wasn't the man you were looking for?
You're gonna regret put your hands on me.
Where's SmackDown on Friday? Chicago, home sweet home. Why? Tremendous.
Is it really happening? I mean, like, really happening? And by it, we'll get to it. But yeah, join us. This is Sportskeeda Wrestling. I'm Kevin Kellum. More importantly, the main event of Clash in Paris saw a new member of the Vision faction emerge. Yes, the devious group led by Paul Heyman with World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins and a power goon structure supporting him, and Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker at his side. There was a lot of speculation amongst wrestling fans. Could it have been someone like an Austin Theory or maybe the gigantic Omos? But instead, we're taken by surprise, and maybe even a more obvious one, when it was only a female superstar that joined the group. Yes, Women's Intercontinental Champion and Seth Rollins' real-life wife, the man, Becky Lynch. With the lineup seemingly complete, it begs a lot of questions like, was this always the plan? Can we even compute this? At the moment, some are claiming it was a desperate move by WWE with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker being thrown out of the arena earlier the night because they just pummeled our poor precious Roman Reigns. But these are also wrestling fans that don't know that they got played. This is also a Seth Rollins in all of this, with all these moving parts, that is a sleazy, shortcutting, cheating, conniving, take advantage of a moment when you can to become a world champion, take advantage of a relationship to retain your championship, to remain champion. These are all key factors in him not being a good person while being the world champion. But the main reason that maybe you're here, and it's one that a lot of die-hard WWE fans beyond a certain level of dedication have put out there ever since CM Punk came back to WWE, because CM Punk's wife and former Divas champion AJ Lee would be the perfect opponent for Seth Rollins, who stole a World Heavyweight Championship with a Money in the Bank cash-in on Punk after faking an injury, now has his conniving wife, Becky Lynch, at his side. So now Punk must have some female opposition. So who better than AJ Lee to return to WWE under these circumstances? AJ Lee has been out of the limelight for professional wrestling for some years, but has still remained active in the industry of entertainment outside of it for some time now. But ever since CM Punk came back, it's been there. Is she going to come back? It's just kind of an obvious question. So let's dive deep into why it looks like AJ Lee could be, maybe, possibly returning to WWE and professional wrestling as a whole, with a lot of context provided around what could be the imminent return of one of the biggest names in women's wrestling in the last 10 or 15 years. So the logic behind all the speculation is simple. Becky Lynch getting involved with Seth Rollins, again, is likely a setup for AJ Lee's return. But now there's more than just logical surface level expectations and speculations. No, right after Clash in Paris, a report from the always reliable Fightful Select revealed that AJ Lee's name has reportedly been brought up multiple times in recent creative team meetings within WWE, and there has been increasing traction over AJ Lee's return in the last couple of years, obviously since CM Punk's return. John Alba on Sports Illustrated also confirmed on his show that AJ Lee's name has been brought up in internal creative meetings. So how does it all connect to Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins? They haven't been associated together on screen for well over 6 years now, during a rather forgettable era in 2019 for just a little bit where WWE acknowledged their relationship in real life. The era we've seen between the summer of 2022 and late 2024 was good enough to see every other show completely sold out and captivating the audiences with long-term storytelling and big payoffs. Yeah, and it kept going. And one of the biggest possible returns we could see to maybe build some new momentum that some feel WWE needs just so happens to be AJ Lee. But before that, can AJ Lee even compete in the ring? What was it that eventually led to her retiring? Let's go back a little over a decade, because for those of you that may have had the misfortune of missing AJ Lee's hot run in WWE, it was an impressive one and very influential when you pull back and look at everything going on with women's wrestling and the evolution of it within WWE. She was a trailblazer with every sense of the word. There's no denying that Lita, Trish Stratus, Mickie James, Chyna, Victoria, Medusa, and all the others before her paved a way, but AJ Lee was in the true sense maybe the biggest precursor to what eventually became the Divas or Women's Evolution, Revolution, whatever you want to term it, in WWE in the early 2010s. Before the wheels started spinning with WWE NXT as a developmental hub to launch a lot of great women we see at the top of the wrestling world now, before that, then there was AJ, who stood out from the rest. In the era of the Divas, she was the quintessential women's wrestler with a profound character and a unique look that really popped off the screen, maybe comparative to a Roxanne Perez of today. It's a shame that she retired when she did due to some nagging injury issues, and as it was a little bit over a year after CM Punk walking out from WWE. While Punk walked away, undoubtedly for reasons that have been well documented, AJ Lee has always stated that her neck issues were the real reason why she never returned to the pro wrestling ring. It was also a very different time in WWE when she left, and a lot of the culture backstage was conflicting with what is now presently a more positive temperature overall in WWE in the locker room area. The timing of her retirement was unfortunate because WWE was on the cusp of turning things around for the women's division as a whole, presenting it in a much more legitimate, more athletically focused light, with the women being treated in a way that WWE has never presented them before. It was the tail end of the Divas era, with some strong storylines here and there, but the women never really getting the spotlight that maybe they always deserved. And only months later, we started seeing the call-ups that would change women's wrestling forever in WWE. It all coming full circle now, one night later on Raw after the Clash in Paris, WWE all but confirmed we're getting one of the biggest returns in women's history. At least, we hope they are confirming that in some way. Becky Lynch walked into the arena with her husband's music playing, all while CM Punk was expecting Seth Rollins, the man who has tormented him for quite some time since he returned to WWE. She taunted CM Punk and blocked him from physically getting to Seth Rollins, and then proceeded to slap him multiple times before he let her know that she was going to regret it. When CM Punk confirmed that he was appearing on SmackDown in his hometown of Chicago, the final SmackDown that'll feature John Cena on his farewell tour, all the signs seem to be there. Yes, all of them seem to be there for a big return. And unlike 6 years ago when Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins had to face opponents who weren't exactly exciting, this can actually be called a dream mixed tag team clash. The match itself doesn't really need to be a 5-star classic. It just needs to have a hot crowd, and the crowd will be hot for it. It's a relative thing, a couple versus couple conflict with huge names and personalities, and AJ Lee returning is gasoline for the entire thing to really light up. Yes, it looks like someone may have finally managed to convince AJ Lee to return to pro wrestling, even if it's just for a one-off. But the fact that she's going to be a character on WWE television again, like I said, like we're hoping, it's quite surreal. She probably knows better than anyone that there has always been an appetite for her returning, especially from hardcore fans that remember her hot run as that crazy, wild-eyed woman in WWE. What we mentioned earlier about AJ Lee retiring at the cusp of the women's revolution is something that fans have talked about in recent years, that she's simply someone who broke out big, was probably the biggest woman in all of wrestling, and then left before all of the women were treated in a much better way. And because of that, AJ Lee was ahead of her time. She is truly one of the biggest women of WWE pre-2015. As for possible ring rust for someone who's been away from pro wrestling for so long, it seems like WWE may not have any reason to really be worried about that. We've seen footage of her periodically training in the ring with CM Punk over the years. She was active as a producer, not an in-ring competitor for Women of Wrestling, WOW, for a brief period of time, and we would like to remind you that even CM Punk spent years away from a wrestling ring before he eventually returned and delivered bangers when he did. We wouldn't expect anything less from AJ Lee, and the fact that she could be on our screens again is, as we mentioned, surreal and exciting. Who knows? A mixed tag team match could eventually lead to the door opening again for a future Royal Rumble appearance, a future WrestleMania match, maybe even more. But this decision is in the hands of one person, and one person only, AJ Lee herself. Nobody can push or force her to do anything, and if she's returning, which we expect her to do, then it's probably because she has decided it's time for her to lace the boots up one more time. So let us know what you think about a potential AJ Lee return. Are you excited about it? How do you want to see it play out? What dream matches would you want to see her have with today's WWE roster? Let us know in the comments below. And if you haven't done so already, hit the like button. Share the link to this video with your friends who love themselves some AJ Lee. And of course, subscribe to Sportskeeda Wrestling for more videos just like this. Check out our channel. We got a whole bunch of new stuff we just dropped.